Yo, Novatos, thanks again for tuning in to yet another video. Infamous coming at you live from the West Coast yet again, San Jose, California. Let's go ahead and get straight into this video, the topic of today's video. Why would you buy this? Why? You know, there's a lot of people in the Facebook group, Lowrider S group, they're wondering, man, why are you guys putting saddlebags? Or why are people putting saddlebags on a bike? I get this a lot on my Instagram. I get this a lot on Facebook. On my own comments on the videos, when you guys see my Lowrider ST, I got saddlebags and a fairing on it, and people are just kind of like, man, why are you doing that to this bike? All right, same thing with this, right? People are putting FXRT fairings on their Lowrider S, and why don't you, the comments, why don't you just buy a touring bike? Why don't you just buy a road glide? Why don't you just buy a straight glide? You know, stuff like that. That's basically the typical reaction when somebody sees forward controls, saddlebags on a lowrider. So sorry, I have a bunch of tabs open here, and it's just kind of tough to, you know, it's tough to compare this bike to the baggers. All right, there's a few reasons why you would pick this over those other options, touring models. They're great bikes, they're great options. But for the same reason I built my Lowrider S as a, you know, bagger, sport glide, touring, you know, quick detach fairing, quick detach saddlebags. You could remove these parts in about, I'd say maybe about 2 minutes, and you have yourself a naked bike or a cruiser or a bobber build, which is, you know, it's pretty good. You have you have 2-in-1. With my setup, with this setup, you can't remove the fairing, of course, but you can remove the saddlebags, remove some of that weight. My Leather Pros weigh in about 10 pounds a piece when they're empty, so I'm taking off 20 pounds worth of extra weight when I decide to remove the saddlebags on the weekends. So weight is one of the big reasons why you would pick this over those two other options. Now, like I said, depending on your riding style, depending on what you want out of your bike, this has a 117. So if you want a CVO 117, you want that you know, that iconic 117 on your bike, and you don't want to pay that you know, $50,000 CVO price, then this is by far the cheapest option for you to get that 117. Now, is the 117 that much special in regards of, you know, price? Yes, CVOs before the sport tourings, the only way for you to get a 117 straight from the factory was to pay the $50,000 price tag on the CVO. So this is by far the cheapest 117 you could get. Like I said, it's not a huge improvement over the 114. It has the same stroke, so you could always upgrade your 114 to a 131. So anyways, weight is one of those big factors. If we just look at the road glide, this thing weighs in about 860 pounds. Man, you know, that's a lot of weight. You're not going to have the same agility, the same performance, especially if you're just looking at, you know, price-wise, $22,000. Obviously, $21,430 for the road glide and $21,500 for the Lowrider ST. You have a huge, in this case, you do have a noticeable difference between the 107 and the 117, especially when it comes to down the road. If you decide to upgrade your 114 or your 117 to a 131, it's going to be cheaper than to go from 107 to 131, because now you have to get into the bottom end. So that's something to kind of keep in mind, obviously. So performance, this thing 107 lugging in at an extra almost 200 pounds. I believe the Lowrider ST weighs in at, man, let me go in here real quick. I believe it's 700 and something pounds. Let's see real quick. 721 pounds is your running weight for that. And I believe on this one it's 860 pounds. Real quick, let's look. 855 pounds. So that's a difference of 200 pounds, almost 200 pounds. That's a huge difference, all right? So obviously, the 117 on that frame, 860 pounds, it's not going to handle the same, all right? I was test riding the Road Glide Limited. That thing weighs almost 1,000 pounds. It's 900 plus pounds. A lot of people didn't like that video because I just didn't find any any amusement in it. My riding style, I like a lighter bike. I love mid controls. I like feeling that performance. I like feeling the quick response of the throttle, especially when when we're talking 80 horsepower and 110 torque, 110 foot-pounds of torque. It's going to feel completely different between both of these bikes. We're talking about 200 pounds. That's a difference of 200 pounds on the same drivetrain. That's going to feel absolutely like a different monster. So performance-wise, power to weight ratio, the Lowrider ST has it. The best way to get more performance out of your bike and for it to be cheaper would be to drop weight. And dropping 200 pounds from the Road Glide touring frame, of course, kind of like this, now it's going to feel different. All right, so on this one, the special, obviously that's going to have a different price. All right, $29,000, $27,000 for the special. If you're looking at the Lowrider ST, then the numbers go up from there. $29,000, $117,000. I don't want to get into these other models because this video is going to be very, very long. But if you want blacked out components, another reason why you would pick the Lowrider ST, blacked out components on a Road Glide, you're looking at $27,449 plus the you can't see it here, plus $1,000. So that's the blacked out components, vivid black finish. So that's almost $29,000. So if you wanted it blacked out forks, struts, crash bar, handlebars, the engine, the heads, obviously, the intake, the inside, obviously, the inside of the fairing, blacked out components, then this is still going to cost you under $22,000. If you're looking at these same look blacked out components, now you're looking at $29,000, kind of like on the Road Glide special. So that's the Road Glide special. And if we were to go 117 Road Glide's Sport Touring, obviously you're looking at a different price. That's $29,999. And if you add the Gunship Gray, that's going to cost you an extra $600. Plus the surcharge on this is more expensive. I've seen these. Typically these are going for about $36,000 out the door in my area. $39,000. That's how much these are going for in my area. Obviously, this is California. It's going to be more expensive. And the huge factor, this is by far the biggest one when it comes to you picking this over the touring models. Do you ride solo? All right. So if you ride, I'd say 20% two up, then I would say, you know what, this one with a Mustang seat, maybe this could be a good option, a great choice. Anyways, but I'd say if you ride, maybe 40%, 50% two up, then that's when you might start considering dishing out the extra money for a touring frame. All right, you have that extra, you have that extra weight of the bike. You have a better suspension on this thing. You have better options when it comes to long range. You also have a 6-gallon tank. Comfort wise, this is where it's at for long touring. I've ridden my Sportster, which is 600 pounds under, about 500 something, 580 pounds with the saddlebags, the fairing, stuff like that. I've ridden towards Sacramento on my Sportster, and man, the wind beats me up. I get knocked around a lot. It's a lighter bike. The suspension's not that great. I think all Harleys come with crap suspension. You have to upgrade them, obviously. You guys know $1 Million Bogan, he spent like $30,000 on his setup, on his Road Glide, on his CVO Road Glide. So on top of paying $30,000, $40,000, he spent another $20,000 on getting it to ride proper. So we're talking about a 131, and I believe he has a cam in it, and he has upgraded suspension. So that's just one of those things you have to look into. But two-up riding, if that's going to be 60%, maybe even 70% of your riding, maybe you should probably consider a touring model. But if you're a solo rider, kind of like myself, my girl does not go riding with me at all, this is probably a better option. All right, not a lot of cargo space, kind of like you get with one of the baggers, but man, you know, you throw a tour pack on here. Have you guys seen Laidlaw's channel? What's his name? Mario? I can't remember. He's 5'5", I believe, a little bit shorter than me. He has a Lowrider S with these saddlebags with a FXRT fairing, and he has a tour pack, which looks pretty awesome. If I can find the footage, I'll play it here, obviously. So those are the options, or those are the reasons why you would opt out for a Lowrider ST. They're cheaper. If you don't consider, obviously, the markup that these bikes are going for, if you don't consider the markup, these are cheaper than those other options. If you're looking at 117 blacked out components and a frame mounted fairing, and you know, saddlebags straight from the factory. So what is that for? 4 reasons. And this also has obviously a few more additional you know, features. You have inverted forks, which is also better than the regular forks on the baggers. These are, you know, normal forks. You do have, like I already mentioned, mid controls, lighter bike, inverted forks, and a frame mounted fairing. All of this for under 22,000 bucks. And obviously the big factor, it's 200 pounds lighter, and you ride solo. You have some capacity here, 5-gallon tank. That's pretty good. All right, that's considered long range compared to a lot of the other options. You have your Street Bob 3.5, you have your Sportsters, that's 3.3. The Chieftain, that's 4 gallons, I believe. Is it 4 gallons? I think most of the Chieftains are 4 gallons. So, man, you know what? This is pretty good. All right. So, sorry if I'm rambling. Sorry if I'm repeating myself. But those are the main reasons why people are opting out for this. Some folks in the Facebook group love the bike. They love the setup. And other people, you know, they just, like I said, it depends on your riding style. If you do a lot of highway, a lot of high winds, we have Pacheco Pass here. We have Highway 5. Those winds are brutal. I commute over there. I drive over there sometimes on Highway 5, and the winds are, man, like you get knocked out. You get knocked off of your lane if you're not leaning towards, obviously, the wind. So enough rambling. Those are my reasons why you would decide on buying this bike. Those are my reasons for obviously building out my Lowrider S to a sport touring, something that I already discussed in another video when it comes to the Sport Glide versus the Lowrider S. Just share your comments down below, share your thoughts. Obviously, this video could go, I've already made this video. This video can easily go 20 minutes plus on comparing. It's just when you're trying to compare all these bikes, they all have their plus and their cons. It's just that I could go on for hours. I could talk motorcycles for days. All right, you guys just stay out there, stay safe. Don't believe everything you read. Life's a risk. Get out there and ride. Later.